I'm Sifu Ramsey. This short compilation is regarding the founder of MMA, which happens to be Bruce Lee. Why I say Bruce Lee? Because Bruce Lee had studied many styles. Some experts say that he studied, made about 20 to 25 styles. He actually put one of the main styles on the map within the Western world, which is Wing Chun. So a lot of people went crazy over Wing Chun because of Bruce Lee. But Bruce Lee formed his own style called Jeet Kune Do, the way of the intercepting fist, which is a compilation of boxing, martial arts of all different sorts, such as grappling, etc., or what we'd call wrestling in some countries, and that became MMA.
What's the difference between a kung fu punch and a karate punch?
Well, the karate punch is like an iron bar, whack. A kung fu punch is like an iron chain with an iron ball attached to the end, and it go whang, and it hurt inside.
Okay.
What Bruce Lee is basically trying to illustrate in our minds here is that Kung Fu is all about not just force, but it's also about internal power. There's a system called Qigong. So when he says the ball to describe Kung Fu, he's talking about when the blow hits you, you actually can become internally injured from the blow from a Kung Fu strike. Karate is very aggressive and very a forceful technique, but they don't really specialize in Qigong until you reach high levels like 8th and 9th and 10th Dan. Bruce Lee actually studied Wing Chun, Chow Li Fut, and many other styles. But when he developed his Jeet Kune Do, he wanted to incorporate grappling moves within the system. For example, if you watch Fist of Fury, you'll see him using grappling moves against a strong Russian fighter. So MMA actually emerged from these techniques that Bruce Lee portrayed in the early days. And the next video comes up shows the modern day grappling, which is very aggressive, quite brutal in some ways, and there's hardly any rules. You can kick a man while he's down, you can lay on top of a man and a series of punches to knock him out, etc.
It's been all Murillo Ninja Hua here in the opening round, knee on belly position. Posturing, dropping those right bombs of fights. Diaz there. Oh!
Bruce Lee actually utilizes Chinese grappling, which is a lot different from the MMA grappling that's used today. It's a lot more sophisticated, and if you watch the techniques that Bruce Lee is actually using in Chinese grappling, you can see it, they're quite lethal. And they go for, he usually puts a man down through the arm locks, and when he gets you down, he hits you on vital points, and with vital points you don't actually get back up. In grappling, in MMA, you can't actually do this. So when he was asked, do you fight in tournaments, he said no, because my moves are basically lethal. In the movie Game of Death, which was written and orchestrated by Bruce Lee, he wanted to demonstrate certain skills. One of his students was a famous basketball player, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He actually sparred with him in this movie and demonstrates a foot lock to put him on the ground with a foot lock, and also demonstrates kicking him in the face from a jumping side kick. Bruce Lee was also a master in Qigong, which is key, it's described as key in the world of martial arts. And one of the things he he liked to demonstrate is how a short-range punch can generate tremendous force, no matter how small you are. He was just 5'6" tall. He wasn't a heavyweight. He was very much a lightweight. But the generation of his punching force was tremendous. A lot of people don't understand Qigong, but Qigong is about internal energy from the breathing technique whenever you punch. Here he demonstrates in a video. Shaolin Kung Fu is literally thousands of years old, and over the centuries, man has been able to utilize the Shaolin system in different countries all over the world. Karate originates from Shaolin Kung Fu, so does Taekwondo, so does boxing. Literally, boxing comes from Kung Fu, because what the Chinese mastered in those years of studying martial arts was to first use their fists with technique as opposed to just brawl. One of the greatest heroes for Bruce Lee was Muhammad Ali, because of his speed and his accuracy. So when you watch Fist of Fury, you'll see him punching very similar to a boxer. And this is what MMA became. And this is how martial arts became ultimately. But obviously, the boxing skill itself actually originated from Shaolin Kung Fu.
Moving in on London. A fuselage of punches by Muhammad Ali.
One of the things that one has to remember when learning any form of art or fighting technique or fighting skills, it's usually the coach that determines how good you really are. The coach or the trainer or the sifu or the sensei, as they say in karate, sifu for kung fu. Muhammad Ali's coach was a genius boxing coach by the name of Angelo Dundee. Angelo Dundee's technique was to utilize the existing athletic skills of his student and just expand on that. So he didn't actually teach Ali how to do to be a quick puncher, etc. He knew Ali had these techniques already. He just showed him how to coordinate himself. And this is what a coach and a good trainer does. If the coach or the trainer doesn't have the experience to do this, it becomes very difficult. And Angelo Dundee was quite an old man when he was training Muhammad Ali. So obviously, they say age and experience is a combination that assists you in being able to teach properly.
He was a unique, special human being. There'll never be another Muhammad Ali. And
one of the points I'd like to make clear is that most of the top trainers came from the ghettos, whether it's America, UK, whatever. And they had an understanding of the street mentality, because on the streets, most of the champion boxers that emerged over the last 50, 60 years came from the streets. They were probably involved in some kind of crime, some kind of misdemeanor, but they had certain ways and in terms of their mindset that made the trainers identify this potential person as being a future champion boxer. Why I'm going through boxing is because boxing is a very, very necessary skill for every kung fu or martial artist. Whether you think your system is the best system in the world, boxing plays a major role. Skilled boxing plays a major role with your hand techniques. The next person on my list of great boxing techniques is Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali's technique were totally different. Muhammad Ali was more into a very, very fast punching technique that disables his opponent in seconds. Mike Tyson was very much into aggressive punching. And obviously, he used a sort of a dodge, bobbing and weaving technique, which was taught by a very famous trainer that he studied under by the name of Costamato.
He's allowing Mike Tyson to trap him in the corner.
As the big right hand lands, Tyson knows he's got him in big trouble. If he doesn't answer it, Richard Steele. can't get off punches.
Mike Tyson's coach, Costamato, an absolute genius. He adopted Mike Tyson from a young age, brought him to his home, raised him like his own son, and taught him how to fight. He came from a very sort of deprived family with a lot of problems we had on the streets. He was involved in various different misdemeanors on the street, being arrested by police. Well, Costamato saw something in him which was unique. He saw a talent, and he had to curve Mike Tyson's behavior and work on his character. He mentions this in his video, that he looks at the character, he works on the character of his fighters, try to get them to think methodically in terms of how they live their general lifestyle, and to incorporate that in within their boxing style.
It is the mark of a great fighter when he has character plus skill, because a fighter with character and skill will often rise and beat a better fighter because of this. Character is that quality upon which you can depend under pressure and other conditions. Character makes the fighter predictable. Character helps him win.
In the UK, we have a boxer by the name of Amir Khan. Very, very, very fast hands. Very, very slick. One of the things about martial arts also is that your hands need to be fast in terms of competition fighting also. I actually believe that a good boxer could beat a good kung fu man who doesn't know how to use his hands properly. So one of the reasons why Bruce Lee encouraged us to incorporate boxing techniques within martial arts was because of the speed of the boxers. Of course, the boxers they don't actually kick, but it's very important to have a good hand speed in any form of martial arts.
To see him shaking in the opening round, that is news. Oh dear, there we go again. 2 falls and a submission. Oh,
Bill throws those chopping punches.
on the left hook. He's got no control of his feet. Now the referee is...
This 1984 Olympic gold medal champion is one of only 4 fighters in boxing history to win 4 titles in 4 weight divisions. And he's considered by many to be, pound for pound, the best in the world today.
Anthony Joshua is now the UK world champion heavyweight boxer of the world. Another person that came off the streets of London, got involved in misdemeanors, and then became the world champion. The thing about Anthony Joshua was that he's not as skillful as a Muhammad Ali or a Mike Tyson, but they've actually got trainers now and coaches that are so advanced in their teachings in terms of boxing, have been able to develop this man into a world champion literally by being coached. So then, incidentally, he went through a series of fights with a few other competitors, one of them by the name of Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte was a street aggressor, I would like to say.
You've been shot, stabbed 3 times,
yeah.
and even kidnapped. I mean,
he got involved in all kinds of crimes. He then went into professional boxing, and went into the ring with Anthony Joshua using a kind of a street thug kind of fighting technique. Anthony Joshua used his professional skills that was taught to him by good trainers and beat him. Most people say that if it was a street fight between Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte, which a cold street fight, Anthony Joshua wouldn't stand a prayer against Dillian Whyte. He would have been beaten. But in the ring with a judge, with the referees, etc., Anthony Joshua was able to take him out. So skill is most definitely involved in boxing. After the knockout of Dillian Whyte by Anthony Joshua, Dillian Whyte went on to learn how to box, technical skills, and has become a master in the ring in terms of certain technical skills. And I feel he will do a lot better now when he steps back in the ring with Anthony Joshua sometime in the near future. Without any doubt, boxing is a very important art within the world of martial arts. When I say world of martial arts, because I still believe that boxing comes from martial arts, although it's become more like a business, an international business on the circuit now. Shaolin Kung Fu is the foundation of most martial arts on the planet today. And Shaolin Kung Fu is demonstrated in this next video as a very, very, very calm system in your approach to fighting. You are very relaxed in your motion. As Bruce Lee said when he was asked in the movie Enter the Dragon, what's your style? He says it's like fighting. It's like fighting without fighting. In other words, you use very little effort and use control, speed, accuracy, and technique. Now, there's a video with a Shaolin Kung Fu guy versus a Taekwondo guy. Remember, Taekwondo originates from Shaolin. And if you look at the fluidity of the Shaolin students' kicks compared to the Taekwondo guy, which is very methodical in his approach and his attack, you can see that the Shaolin guy was very relaxed in mid-air whilst he was executing his kicks. On the UK circuit, we had a young man from Afghanistan, Islam Shafiq. Now, this goes to show you that Shaolin is not a system that's basically isolated to China or any other country. This young man went on the circuit. He was a Kung Fu expert from Afghanistan, fought in many, many tournaments, and proved himself to be formidable on the circuit. In this movie, this is a historical movie regarding the teacher of Bruce Lee. His name is Yip Man. Yip Man was a Wing Chun master, and he was like the most prolific or famous Wing Chun master in the history of Kung Fu. And make it clear that Wing Chun is just one of the styles within Kung Fu, just one of them, which really concentrates on the center line and accuracy in your punching and Qigong. internal energy punches. So the actor here is Donnie Yen, who is a real martial artist, in real life. Demonstrate the Wing Chun style against 10 fighters. It would seem impossible to some people, but this is very possible, very much so, for one man to take on 10 people at one bout. Ironically as it sounds, it's been done before many times, but never really reported. But here we have a demonstration which is prolific, and it shows the Wing Chun style, the original style of Bruce Lee. But Bruce Lee never ever felt that Wing Chun had the absolute in terms of fighting, and this is why he incorporated boxing in his Jeet Kune Do style with the Wing Chun techniques. He incorporated many styles. He felt that you should take the best from every system, combine them, and utilize them where necessary.